recently, it has not been easy being Jewish. When the situation erupted in Israel, there was an alarming rise and a dramatic rise in anti-Semitism across the world. And on social media, it was overwhelming to see the amount of hate that was spread, not just against Israel, but against Jews everywhere. Yet every single morning, we take a moment to express our gratitude towards God, who's the source of all the blessing in our life, for making us a Jew. Why? What are we actually grateful for? So as Jews, we have a unique relationship with God. When Abraham, all those years ago, stepped up and said, I want the mission of being the chosen people, of being the ones who's a light to the nation, he developed an incredible relationship with God. And we, as his descendants, as his children, are in a committed relationship with God, and we have the Torah, which is an incredible source of wisdom. You know, so many times people turn around to me and they say, how comes you're so young and yet you have so much wisdom? And you know what the answer is? The answer is it's all from the Torah. And I'll tell you an incredible story that brings this home. In New York, the Panovich Rav was once on a subway, and he noticed there was a group of guys, and they looked like they were up to no good. In fact, they looked like they wanted to either steal from him or attack him or something else. So he went over to them and he took a piece of paper out of his pocket and he said to them, excuse me, can you direct me how to go here? And he showed them the address. And the hooligans, they snickered amongst themselves because they thought, this guy, he's so naive. So they said, we can do better than that. We can actually show you and direct you to get there. So this is what's going to happen. You follow us off on the next stop, and we'll take you there. And the Panovich Rav smiled at them and he said, okay, thank you. And it came to the next stop, and they said, this is the stop to get off. So he showed his hands towards them as though to say, you go first. And they all got off the train, and he dillied and dallied just enough that the doors shut. And he was left on the train, and those hooligans were off, and he had shaken them off his trail. And later he said, do you know how I figured out where to do this from? You know where I figured out this trick from? I figured it out from the Torah in the story when Jacob meets Esau and they have their reunion, and Jacob narrowly misses Esau killing him. They pretend to leave on peaceful terms, and Esau turns to him and says, why didn't you travel towards me? And Jacob says to him, listen, I'm traveling with my family and the kids and animals. There's so many of us. We're going to be slow. So you know what? You go ahead and we'll meet you there. And the truth is, we're told that Jacob never intended to follow Esau and meet him there, because he realized that living together with Esau would be dangerous, not just physically but spiritually as well. But he didn't want to shake up the peace. So he said to him, you go first and I'll follow. And then they went their separate ways. And the Panovich Rav said that that's where I learned how to deal with these hooligans in New York City in the 20th century. The Torah has so much wisdom that we can access in terms of living our lives and being a light unto the nation. And this is one of the things that we are grateful for in the morning, when we are grateful that we are Jewish and we have the responsibility and the privilege of living as a Jew. Thank you for listening and have a great day. P.S. Can you spot where the background in my house is today?